well, my land. And it's a beautiful sunny day. We've had some colder weather. Now the sun's out and it's actually warmer this morning. Looking to see where my horses are. Let's call them in, see what happens. Let's see. Beautiful golden fields. Not fields of wheat though. That's what it would normally be if you go further east, or if you spend your time planting wheat. Well, I didn't advertise this at all. I didn't post it anywhere, so we'll see if we get more viewers. It says I got 1 right now. Now it says I got 2, but that's pretty typical for this. Happy birthday to me. Hey, morning, Craig. God bless Texas. We're gonna call my horses in. If I don't see them, I'm just gonna start whistling and see if they come in. Let's see here. I don't see them anywhere, but they could be right behind the bushes. Hey, there's some doves. They say the doves taste great. Smoke in the woods. Good morning. Well, morning here. I don't know about you. Snake Boot. Good morning. Welcome, guys. It's not a really loud whistle, but it carries. Has good tone. All right, well, we'll see if that brings them in. Gosh, it's really beautiful this morning. I think the overcast skies with the sun shining at an angle really does it. It's nice. Got a little bit of color, but unfortunately this year we're getting the hawthorns that turn red, which is beautiful, but they're already dropping their leaves, and the cottonwoods are barely turning yellow. So it's always nicer when they're all simultaneously changing color. See if you can see it here. So these are willows right here. They're yellow, but not really bright. They're kind of just a percentage. That's hawthorn that's red, and then that's cottonwoods. As you can imagine, if these were bright yellow with the sun on them and this was red and yellow here, it's a lot more beautiful. It's been that way in the past. Good morning, Daryl. Asks what's for lunch. Probably the same thing as always, rice and hamburger. I didn't really talk about it. I got pretty sick. I think it might have been the new COVID strain, but I don't know if y'all have experienced this, but when you get sick, it's easy to imagine that you know what caused it. But the reality is you could be getting sick for, I forget, I read about it once, like 20 hours, 15 hours. And then when you actually get sick or start feeling it, then you associate it with something. So that's something I used to fall into a lot, thinking I had food poisoning from whatever I ate last. Anyway, I got really sick. That's the whole point. And I think it might have been COVID. And so I was associating it with all these foods I was eating. So I was scared to eat the food. In retrospect, I don't think it was the food that got me sick. And so then I started starving myself. And I never get diarrhea. All my life, I'm not a diarrhea guy. I'm a throw-up guy. But I got diarrhea from this. And it was pretty bad. Well, the diarrhea wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't fun, but it wasn't like bad diarrhea. But I stopped eating all my food. And so then I started starving myself, and I eventually realized, my goodness, I need to start eating. And so then I started buying hamburger, but I buy free-range hamburger, so that, because I really am, I'm not a psycho nut about it, but I am really into how they treat the animals. Like, I'd rather buy locally from places that I know treat the animals right, and not to mention support somebody local rather than these big companies. So anyway, I forgot why I brought that up, but Daryl asked what's for lunch, and it's time to make some more coffee. Oh, and my breakfast is cooking. Linus Cosmic, thank you. Yeah, it's my birthday today. Happy birthday to me, folks. October is the best month of the year, and October 19th is the day that I was brought forth. Huh, my horses must be on the other side of the creek. They still come in, but they've been coming in later and later. So here it is, 8:30 my time. And yeah, anyway. Yeah, so I got started. I slept in because I was out playing music last night at the winery. I used to do that like 5 years ago. That was a lot of fun. And last night I returned, and it was a ton of fun. Mostly getting to play my harmonica with the other guys. That's honestly my favorite part. I do enjoy singing too, but I get a big thrill out of playing accompaniment with my harmonica. Hey guys, here's the rooster and the dog. So I was out late last night and slept in till about 7:47, I think, is when I looked at my phone. So I'm not too prepared for this video, but I thought I'd do a short one anyway. Thanks for all the happy birthdays, guys. Appreciate that. Craig says, dove season here in Texas tastes like roast beef, dark, stringy meat. Stringy. I've never thought of roast beef as stringy, but yeah, I guess it is. Now that you mention it. Oh, and Snake Boot verified what I was saying. 12 to 48 hours incubation for cold and whatnot. I'm assuming that's for flu and food poisoning. Food poisoning is usually what I get. And I'm not talking from the way that I live, but like we used to buy the gas station food that was discounted because it was out for too long. And I don't know if it really did get me sick, but that's what I always attributed it to. I mean, honestly, you could just get sick from grabbing the door handle in a public bathroom. Daryl, you asked how I make money. Most people don't talk about this, but I don't care. I sold a piece of property and I'm living off of the payments, which isn't exactly wise when it comes to money. Living off of interest might be fine, but living off the payments ain't. But I made that choice so that I could pursue doing what I want to do rather than having to jump into just making money. And so there's a potential that I could be making money off of enough money off of comedy, which I never would have guessed. But that's a whole video in itself, I guess. I kind of made a decision where I was gonna start making a bunch of money off of the land here, figuring out which way to do it, and then I kept little by little letting that go, because I also let go my real estate license, which is really good money, and there, just crossed the creek with dry feet. So I let my real estate license go, and I've talked about this before, where I told the first client that no, I didn't want to do the deal. I didn't want to sell their house for them, which was a really big deal because selling houses is the easiest money in real estate, and it's a lot of money. But that was difficult to do, but then I felt really good about it after, and then I started turning down everybody that called and let my license go. And I had zero regrets, it was a huge mind shift of realizing that money isn't the goal. I had lived that way all my life, and most people do, but it was really wild. Like, that's turning down huge chunks of money And I grew up poor. I remember when I got my first $5,000 check, it was kind of surreal. That was from a lawsuit from a company that I worked for. Some people did what do you call those? Those group lawsuits where you get an attorney and then they pay out to everybody that that opted in and was. Anyway, got a $5,000 check, and after that I started making bigger money than I'd ever made in my life. And it wasn't the answer. That's why when I say that living with less is the answer, I actually have the experience. It's not like I've just given up and lived with less. It's because I've made money and figured out. I mean, I didn't have a whole lot of luxury, because that's a whole nother story. Anyway, I forgot why I'm talking about this. Oh yeah, so when I moved here, I was thinking constantly of how to make money, and then eventually I realized, why am I doing that? And I thought to myself, what do I actually want to do? Well, I don't want to do any of that I've been thinking about. And so it went on this big long quest of realizing, okay, how am I going to live? What is it like to live off of what I want to do versus what I have to do? And so eventually I started doing nothing. And but I let myself do it. I let myself kind of just wander into this life of just doing what I wanted to do. Also, I was kind of de-stressing because I was way overwork. I used to way overwork. I was working 7 days a week, all day, every day as a realtor, and had this dumb mistakes of buying houses to flip and lots of foolishness. But anyway, so a lot of it was de-stressing, and a lot of it was learning to live what I call now intuitively. And so, like I said, I wasted a lot of time, but at the time it was all right. But ultimately, I think that the right way to live is with some kind of pursuit, but a pursuit in the direction that you want to go rather than one that's the most lucrative. But I don't know how well that fits for everybody. Maybe some people enjoy working jobs. I absolutely hate working jobs. Always hated it, but I did it for the best part of my life, and I really regret it. So anyway, that's why I'm spending the money off of 3 acres over there that I sold, and I'm receiving payments on it. But it's worked out for a lot of benefits, like learning financial discipline, learning internal discipline, emotional, spiritual, whatever you want to call it, of letting things go and not having to buy things. Because it's surprising how much I'm constantly looking at stuff like, oh, if I had that, then things would be, that's what I need. And but if you think about it for a little while, I find then I move on to something else, and the pressing urgency, doggone it, I picked up all these seeds off of something, and I thought I got them all. They're on my sleeve. And so when you, Daryl, you hate being poor. That's because you're spoiled. It's because you're committed to all the BS that you need. Some people are poor and they don't have enough. I'm poor, I got plenty. I'm poor by choice, not because I made terrible mistakes. Oh, there they are. See, I got all these seed pods on here. I was wondering where they're coming from. I kept thinking I got them all. So, yeah. Contentment, I won't say happiness, but yes, happiness too. Happiness and contentment come from inside, not from the outside. And, but also I don't think that doing nothing is that either. Like, I'm starting to get to where I want to be more productive. Freaking seed pods. I don't remember even walking through something that tall. Of course, now I just spread them. Hopefully they don't grow up here where I'm throwing them. Alright, let's see what kind of comments I might have missed. I've been walking around looking for my horses. Happy birthday, thanks, Jeff. Good morning. Linus Kuzma. Morning from Maine. Good morning to Maine. Is that cold up there yet? According to my phone forecast, we got a couple days of warm weather today and tomorrow, and then it's supposed to be cool again, which is in the 50s, highs in the 50s. And then we got a couple days of rain. So it's a pretty nice fall. We don't usually have a nice fall. Don't know about you guys. I think all across America it's been unreliable. But like I think it was last year, it was really warm. No leaves were changing. And then all of a sudden in November it got really cold. And oof, I just made it across, but I ran into a tree. And then last year, all of a sudden, it got really cold and the leaves froze. They never even changed. I think that happened a lot of places. It wasn't unique to here. So we kind of missed fall last year. We went from warm. Also, so we're actually having a fall. It's kind of nice, but I'm not even camping hardly, so I'm not even making the best of it. But I don't know where my horses are. I hope they haven't run off. I've got about 40 fenced acres, Craig asked. The horses can wander about 40 acres. But I don't see them. But I also have tall bushes, so they could be standing 100 yards from me and I wouldn't know it unless I walk around them. And anyway. Oh yeah, the cold weather change. So I've been having a wood stove fire quite a bit. It's been really cold in the morning. It's funny because it's supposed to be in the high 30s, 40s, which by the end of winter is t-shirt weather. But I guess at the beginning of winter, it's really cold for me. Because it's been really cold. It's been hard to get in the creek and bathe. But it feels good though when I do it. There they are. I see them. They're way over by the fence, through those bushes. Almost. Huh. I don't know why they're not coming in. Probably can't hear me. That ain't much of a whistle. Snake Boot says we were in Washington last week. The weather is really nice. Low in the low 40s. Highs are up in 60s. Yeah, that's perfect. To me, that's perfect. And usually we miss that. But we've had a few good weeks of weather. But, however, it's always spoiled for me because of all the flies. It gets cool outside. And then the flies come inside. So they're all compacted in there. And it's horrendous. And I couldn't kill them, even though they're cold and they sleep on the ceiling where I could swat them. But, well, for one, I didn't because just more will come in. I've done that before, and I don't know where they come from. They just replace them. And then yesterday, I finally decided, well, I could pull my bed and all my food out so that when these flies die and fall, they don't fall off my bed, and I'll bomb them. So yesterday I bombed them, and that was very gratifying, because at night, it's horrible with so many flies in there. And so I got to get through these 2 days of warmer weather, where they hopefully don't fill my cabin again, and then I should be done with them. But I can bomb them again if I have to. And next year I'm putting on a screen door. This is just insanity. It's been hard to enjoy this nice part of fall when I'm enduring a plague of flies. And that happens every year. I should have figured out something this year, but I didn't. There's the horses. Can you guys see them? Probably not. Yeah, so I didn't really deal with flies like that when I lived in a house. And I didn't even have a screen door, but I guess I did. Oh, well, I guess they didn't have cow manure, horse manure and dead carcasses to reproduce in when I lived in town. So this year has been really bad for flies. I've heard that from a lot of people. But also I screwed up at the beginning of the year. In spring when the weather warmed up, I had carcasses laying around, which really set it off in a bad way. There's the horses. Come on. Well, they like standing in the sun in the morning. So I guess that's their goal now. They're gonna enjoy the sunshine for a bit. All the animals like standing in the sun, getting that vitamin D and warming up. So yeah, so I didn't do a whole lot of reading. I was going to talk more about books every week, but I didn't read my history books at all this week. And instead I started reading The Wealth of Nations. I want to do a review on the first 2 chapters. And that's a big book, so I'm only reading a few pages a day to get through it. But like I say, the first 2 chapters are the most important to me. There's Maximus. Craig Curtis is talking about my camping videos, and yeah, we're blessed up here. We've got rattlesnakes, but not everywhere. The only snakes I've seen here on my property are a couple garter snakes, I think, and bull snakes, which aren't poisonous. At my other property, I saw 1 rattlesnake this year, but I think he got irritated because he was living under the water trough. So we'd come over there and disrupt him, and he must have moved on because after seeing him like 2 different times, he was gone. And yeah, we're spoiled up here. When I went to Texas, I was hanging out in this this city property that I found where it was about 5 acres, and it had a creek going through it, and it was wild. So I'd go there to hang out to get away from the city. And around here, you know, I just get in the creek, you can walk in it, you don't have to worry about snakes. And I was sitting on the bank there thinking, well, me and the dogs could cross the creek and go explore the other side. And I didn't. And then later, when I was looking over there at the place where we were going to cross, there's this big old water moccasin moving around underneath the water near the edge. And that freaked me out, thinking of how close I was to going over there and him right in the way. But yeah, we're just fortunate. We don't have to deal with that. We don't have alligators here. I've been in South Africa where you have to worry about those. And so yeah, we're really blessed up north. Even the mosquitoes are very few. But Texas is pretty dang cool. I mean, I do appreciate every part of the country, every part of the world. I do enjoy seeing those places. But can't say I want to go back to India. Saxon 8. Maine is gun friendly, huh? Because I know some of those states up there are pretty bad. Daryl Isley brought up The Red Fern Grows. Yeah, that's one of my favorite books. Well, from childhood. I had some hound dogs. But I found out it's way easier to tree raccoons than that book made it seem. Of course, it could be that populations were really bad because so many animals got hunted out in America, so it could be that when that book was written, the raccoon populations were really low. But when I had dogs, because they made and also they have to make a story out of it, so they made a big deal that he treated 2 raccoons at one time, and that was a big accomplishment from his dogs. Well, and then I had my coon hounds, and I was out of town, and my dad told me he heard my dogs all barking, and he went over to find them. I had 5 of them. He said that he went over to find them, and there they were, sitting under a tree with 5 raccoons up in the tree. And I thought to myself, hey, where the red fern grows is kind of misleading, because I just treed 5 and I didn't even have a human there. And anyway, still a great book, incredible book. I think about it often. But oh, come on, they're all nervous because of the camera and the tripod. But hey, at least they showed up. Oh, Real West Magazine, yeah, glad you made it. Hello from the Black Hills. Oh, that's freaking cool. Yep, I thought I was going to get to the Black Hills this year, and I didn't. And then I thought I was going to get to Montana and maybe tour around in October, and I didn't. Oh well. It's mostly because of Maximus. What's up, horses? They just want grain now. I give them grain in the morning to make sure they keep coming around, and it works. Even though she likes to socialize anyway. I don't have to tempt her with grain. This one is mad at me because I make her carry me around in the hills now. But we had a great ride. I guess she and I went with another guy and his 2 animals, and we hiked up to that lake where I have a video of where I took the goats even one time, and I caught the fish and camped up there. I've been up there a few times. I think I have at least 2 video sets. Oh no, maybe 3 or 4 where I went up there. And anyway, we went up there. I wasn't sure how she would do because I thought she was in worse shape than she was, but there's this 2-mile grade that we go up. It's a nice ride because it's about 4 miles of flat, and then it's 2 miles of really steep switchbacks. And she handled the switchbacks just fine. I was amazed. She's barefoot, and we kept up just great. The problem is she still won't ride out with me on my own, so I've got to get this horse and this one used to being able to pony her. That's what you call it when you got a halter on this one and a rope, and you hold the rope and you lead her while riding her. So I got to get her to pony, and that should help. When I've got the 2 together, then I might be able to go up there by myself with riding her. And so anyway, that's exciting that we were able to go up there. I finally got to carry a little bit of my survival kit that I'm working on. I made coffee. I made a fire, and I made coffee with my fold-out thing for the first time. The grate that I decided is going to be my my cooking method. I grabbed a couple of rocks and spanned it with this grate and boiled some water for coffee. That was nice. We each caught a nice trout. That was great. I lost a bunch of gear though because my line was old and it snapped. It was probably too light too. So, but at least I got one. He got one. They were both about 14-inch trout. They're really good. I ate them a couple days later. And I took a lighter with me because I thought, well, I'm not doing a historical camp. I'll just grab this lighter. And that was it. And this is why I don't like lighters. Because I got there and the dang thing was rusty. I guess I don't know why it got wet, but it did. And I didn't think that I needed to check a lighter because, all of the survival videos say lighter is the best thing to use. Well, I'm always proven wrong when I try to use a lighter. And then here when I use them in the morning, sometimes you gotta warm them up first, which ain't too bad. They warm up quick, but that's annoying when you're really cold starting a fire in the morning. So I'm not a big fan of lighters. I fortunately brought matches, which is also, like they say, to always have two kinds of fire starter. See, she doesn't like me hanging out with her. Oh, come on, relax. And relax. She doesn't like the tripod. You're okay, darling. Yeah. It's all right. She's camera shy. Anyway, so that was a good time. Craig Curtis asked if we have armadillos. No, we don't. We do have... I don't remember them things. The things that play dead. Possum. We do have some possums. I've never seen a live one, but I've seen a few on the highway dead. Here at my property, all I've got for birds, well, not all, but primarily are quail, some dove, and lots of predatory hawk type birds, different types, at least 3 different types, and owls. There's an owl that sits out on these posts at night. You can sometimes find guts and bones from mice that he sits there and eats. So that's about it. And then we got duck and geese flying overhead eventually, but I don't know when that'll happen. So yeah, it's nice and peaceful here. And somehow Maddie got into the pen. What are you doing in there, Maddie? That's weird. Yep. Alright, well, I don't know. Maybe I'll call it quits. That's what I had to talk about today. I'm going to feed these 2 green. Rifleman Dodd. No, I haven't read The Rifleman. When I was younger, I read a ton of Louis L'Amour. And then I read the Smoke Jensen books. That was the character. I don't remember what they're called. The Mountain Man something. Horrible history, but great books for a young guy to be reading. And nowadays my favorite thing to read is the first-hand accounts. My brother gave me a pretty good Wild Bill Hickok history that I eventually want to read it, but like I say, I prefer reading these first-hand accounts so I can get a good, that's my favorite thing, getting an idea of what it was like back then. I just wish that there was more detail, as I always mention. I'm going to feed these guys some grain now. So no, I don't know what the Rifleman book, Rifleman Dodd. Is Rifleman the character, I guess? Dodd is his name. Look at how beautiful this is. Amazing. And 2 social horses. I can't say how much I love this because I mention this often, but my dang gelding that I rehomed and now belongs to a 9-year-old girl and her mother, really. But like I've said many times, he would push all these horses that I had away from me. There were a couple that were social, so I'd still get to pet them, but he would do his best to get them away from me, including this gal, because she was best friends with him, and that was frustrating because I wanted to be social with my horses, but you know, it's hard to compete with horse language. Like, so anyway, I had the theory that if I got rid of him, he was causing the problems, and sure enough, I banked on these 2 They were the two that I thought that I'd like to keep. They're also the least desirable to other people, so the others were easier to find homes for. There you go, guys. That's what they really want. And so now I have two social horses. They're awesome. They often come around and hang out. They follow me over to the cabin, but poor Maximus hates them. So usually at night when I hear him barking at something, he's barking at the horses because they came around. I mean, I don't blame him. One time Namnumkin kicked him. Fortunately, he was okay. That could have really done some damage, and it didn't. And then this one, she actually provokes him because they learned from coyotes they go after coyotes. And so they're not afraid of dogs, and they'll charge dogs. But, yeah, anyway. So, beautiful fall weather. I wish I was heading up for a ride, except that it's hunting season. It's modern hunting season. In Washington State, we have 3 seasons. We have archery first, then we have muzzleloader, which is what I've done in the past, and then we have our modern season. And modern hunting season, there's just people everywhere, and I don't trust them. Or even, I mean, if you're shooting at a deer, you might forget to look at your backdrop, or then there's some people that with deer fever, hey, what's that rustling over there? Or if I'm on a horse, oh, I see an animal. So anyway, I just stay out. I stay out of the woods, or for the most part. Where we went last year, there were no hunters, and so I wouldn't mind going up there again, but I'm not ready to take these guys up by myself. I got to get them more used to traveling around, leading, like I said. So for my birthday, I don't know if I'll do anything. I'll go get my free drink at Starbucks. That's probably about it. Yeah, Craig Curtis, you mentioned the distinctive bark. Yeah, you can get used to the different barks, that's for sure. So when Maximus really sounds like he's after something. The problem is I've got some cats out here. I think they're still around. And so that's mostly what they're barking at too. What I want to see is a cougar. But mostly it's just the cats, the horses, or raccoons. And raccoons are the big one. That's the real reason that's the main reason I need the dogs on guard. Speaking of, yesterday I was across the creek getting some firewood, and I heard my rooster making a scared noise, and so I ran across the creek to see what was going on. Well, fortunately, usually the dogs follow me, but sometimes they don't notice and they stick around. Fortunately, I didn't have the dogs with me, because I came over and there was a German Shepherd over here, and that's what had scared my rooster, probably chasing him, and Maximus was running him off. That being said, I don't think Maximus was scaring him off. Well, I don't think he was running him off. I think Maximus was trying to be friendly with him, and the German Shepherd was scared. Because when I came, Maximus was just like trying to interact with the dog, and the dog ran off, and I don't know whose dog it was. No, I don't eat that rooster. That rooster is a pet. There's plenty of roosters to eat if I wanted to. I just got to post on Facebook that I'm taking them, and people always have need to get rid of roosters. I didn't even go hunting this year. True West Magazine asked. Last year I did try modern hunting for elk. But that's because I was living out at my other property, and I had been hiking out in the mornings and saw, we can only hunt spike elk here unless you get a special tag. But I can hunt spike elk just by going and buying a license. And so I saw a spike 2 different mornings in the same place. And one was the day before hunting season, so I thought, what the heck, I'm gonna go get a hunting tag and see if I can get this spike. Well, the next morning, I think I was the first one out there, I believe I was, and he was nowhere to be seen. And within half an hour, there were a ton of hunters all over the place. So I walked around for about an hour or two and gave up, and that was a dumb waste of $65 or whatever it cost for just an elk tag. I don't remember. Around here, they've got, it's like $125 to hunt big game. That includes bear, cougar, deer, and elk. And then you got to pay like $25 for a second bear tag. So that's our hunting season here. It's not terrible, but the bad part about it is that deer is 3-point minimum. So that's pretty hard to find, pretty rare. And then, like I said, elk is spike only. That means one of his antlers has to have only one tine. The other one can be forked, but one of them has to have just one. So that's really rare to find. So the odds are against you, even though I have seen legal animals. 2 years ago, I saw legal deer and illegal elk. But anyway, then I drove to Ellensburg the other day, and there was a deer on the side of the road, but I forgot to bring my knife with me. I'm supposed to always take my knife and sharpening stone. I don't know if it was fresh or not. I didn't stop, but that's the thing. I mean, why go hunting when I can just drive the highway and get more meat that way? Especially down in Texas. It is amazing how many deer are laying on the highway down in Texas. I could just live off of deer if I lived in Texas. Or like Daryl, oh, that's what I was going to do for my birthday. I was going to go down to the sale. After this, I'm going to go down to, I think I'm going to go to the livestock sale and see what the old cows are selling for. Last time I was there, you could get an old cow for $400, which they weren't incredibly fat, so maybe you get 300 pounds of meat off of them, and that's a pretty good deal. Kind of like Daryl said, it's cheaper to just go buy a cow than, but cow prices were up last I checked, and like steers were selling for close to $2,000 for a butcher ready steer, whereas back then you could get them for $800 to $1,200. So I did a video of it if you're wondering about that. So I think I might go do that today. That'd be fun. 'Cause that's been my plan. Buy a couple of, when it gets colder, buy a older cow at auction, butcher that, and then and have a whole bunch of meat. Hopefully they get down in price. And then I can feed me and my dogs. Yeah, that's the same everywhere. You have to get a roadkill tag. But from what I understand, they just come out and tag it and do it. But I think when I was in Texas, yeah, I saw them all over the place. Once I was sleeping at the spot that I know of. It's a good spot. And I heard a gunshot quarter mile away. And then the next day I got out there and somebody had hit a deer and then got out and shot it to put it down. I wish then I would have ran up there when I heard the shot. I should have. Alright, well, my video's slowing down. I'm going to go eat my breakfast and have another cup of coffee. Thanks for joining me, guys. Everybody, thanks for all the birthday wishes. It's a good day. As somebody once told me, just be glad you have another one. Not everybody gets to. So I'm glad it's in fall. October's a great month. Who knows? Maybe I'd like June if I was born in June. I do like June. All right, folks, everybody, this has been a whole lot of fun. Stay tuned. Oh, we didn't even talk about the end of the world. Hopefully the election season doesn't see the end of civilization. All right, let's see here. There we go. Everybody take care. Remember, life's a lot more fun over on the wild side.